Presented by Honda. We've been fans since day one. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Second game of 3 between the Blue Jays and the visiting Boston Red Sox here at Rogers Center, with the Jays winning in dramatic fashion last night in extra innings. Alex Cora's team has lost 3 in a row, but they're still 17-5. Still got the best record in baseball at this early stage of the season. Here's a look at the starting lineup for the Red Sox tonight. Jackie Bradley Jr. hitting down on the 7th spot. The center fielder's had some success in his career against Aaron Sanchez. And Brock Holt, he's just plain having success right now. He is healthy this year, had 3 hits last night, and is riding a 7-game hitting streak.
They'll face Aaron Sanchez, who has been really good over his career against Boston. For his career, he's 4-2. This season, 1-2 through 4 starts. His ERA is a respectable 3.86. And there's a concern about he is pitching from behind a little bit too much. I'd like to see him pitch a little more aggressively, and you can see his strikeouts to walk, 15 strikeouts, 13 walks. He's got to improve on that ratio for sure. But the added dimension of that changeup has been very effective for him.
He's a ground ball guy, and he'll get a lot of balls on the infield, you would imagine. A lot of Blue Jay fans, Buck, getting what they're hoping for tonight. Lourdes Gurriel is back in the lineup.
Yeah, Gurriel's making his 3rd start at second, his 5th start overall. I think the big thing with Gurriel, with Sanchez on the mound and 4 left-handed hitters in the lineup, he could get a lot of action at second base tonight because Sanchez throws that sinking fastball and changeup that should produce a lot of ground balls to the right side.
Ready to go here at Rogers Center on really an extraordinary sports night in the city of Toronto on so many fronts. Underway with the first pitch fastball up and away to Mookie Betts, the right fielder for the Boston Red Sox, off to a great start this year. Hitting .347, 6 homers, went 0 for 4 with a walk though last night. Sanchez misses outside again, and he falls behind 2-0, and you talked about it right off the bat.
Yeah, and you know what? He needs to be a little more aggressive in the heart of the plate early on. His stuff is so good. You can see his numbers for his career against Boston, 4-2 in 15 games.
And here's a swing and a drive to deep left field, and Mookie Betts leads it off with a home run.
His 14th career leadoff home run, and he got the count in his favor, 2-0, and he turned it loose. That's his 7th home run of the season, and Boston has a quick lead. You put an MVP caliber player top of your order, and chances are you're going to score very quickly in a ball game.
Not a big guy, but a lot of power.
Sanchez fell behind, comes with the fastball. He's as good as any hitter, Betts is, on handling that inside fastball. I don't care how hard it is. He's got quick hands, and he'll square it up, and he rarely pulls those pitches foul.
So 1 batter in, 1-0 Red Sox. Here's Andrew Benintendi.
Betts is lightning quick on the inner half, and that snaps an 0 for 7 for Mookie Betts.
Andrew Benintendi riding an 0 for 12. And again, Sanchez falls behind, this time 3-0. Benintendi with a rough night last night, 4 strikeouts and a fly ball. And not off to a great start for a guy who in a short time in the majors has proven himself to be a pretty good hitter. Takes a strike, 3-1.
Benintendi just 23 years old. Mookie Betts is 25. I think that's some young superstars in the making for sure.
Xander Bogaerts injured right now, but another very good young player, as that one's fouled off by Benintendi, a full count. So far we're seeing nothing but fastballs from Aaron Sanchez as he tries to rein in his control.
The Red Sox are very tough on right-handed starters. Right-handed starters this season, 1-12 in 18 starts against Boston.
High in the air to left center field. A long time to wait for it for Kevin Pillar. There's out number 1. One thing we are seeing that's much different for Aaron Sanchez this year, he's using that changeup a lot. He's basically quadrupled its usage from last year, but so far tonight, 9 pitches in, we've seen 9 fastballs.
Yeah, and I think what he wants to do, and I agree with it, is get ahead with that fastball. You got to throw it to the middle of the plate. Aaron hasn't been a pitcher in his career. He's a stuff guy, and he overstuffs and outstuffs the batter, so he needs to be aggressive and pitch the big part of the plate, especially early in the count.
Here's Hanley Ramirez. And there's the first curveball of the night from Sanchez, and it's in for a strike. Hanley had a good night last night, 3 for 5, and he's off to a terrific start, hitting .333. He's got 3 homers. He's stolen 3 bases. And Alex Cora was raving about him before the game. His attitude, his impact on teammates. You know, Hanley's had kind of an up and down reputation at times, but Alex Cora says he is engaged right now, and he walks into the clubhouse every day, whenever it is, 3 o'clock, 3:30, and he says, okay, I'm here. We got a chance now. And just the big inside joke that they have. And you know, when a guy's been around as long as he has an impact on younger players, and Hanley's a pretty important part of that team.
Yeah, he's a big important part of that team, and he's in a good frame of mind, obviously, and Alex Cora has done a great job of communicating to his veterans like Ramirez and to the kids as well.
Line to right field and dropped by Teoscar Hernandez, allowing Ramirez to reach.
Well, this is the first start for Hernandez in right field this season, and yeah, it's outfield, but at the same time the ball comes to you in a much different angle. He has made 60 starts in the outfield for his career, only 8 in right field, and when a right-handed hitter like Ramirez hits this line drive, it's going to slice back to the left of Teoscar, and that handcuffed him. I don't think it got in the lights. It's too low for that, but he got fooled by the spin on the ball off the bat of the right-handed hitter.
And it is scored as an error. So a man at first with a 1 out for the cleanup hitter, the DH, J.D. Martinez. He's hitting .291, 4 homers. Newcomer to the Red Sox this year. After signing a big deal in the offseason, rather late in the offseason, although just about everybody figured that he and the Red Sox were meant to be, that it was going to happen at one point or another. Sanchez looking for a ground ball. The runner is going, and the pitch is fouled off. Little hit and run there from the Red Sox, something we saw the Blue Jays do last night.
Yeah, I think it's a good strategy trying to get J.D. Martinez going, because you open up the right side of the infield. And last night he was robbed of a base hit when he hit a sharply hit ground ball in the 2nd inning. But you can see he's 0 for 11. And I think Alex Cora said, you know what, let's see if we can create some movement on the infield and maybe get him a hit and snap that over.
Now in the hole 0-2, so the options a little bit more limited. Sanchez has gotten 7 double play balls in his first 4 starts this year. That's 2 more than any other pitcher in baseball thus far this season.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have been very consistent in their ability to turn 2. And with Gurriel now, Gurriel looking at Diaz at short, making sure he's positioned properly. Gurriel will also lean heavily on Luis Rivera, but Diaz is the veteran, and he likes the fact that he's got a Cuban double play partner up the middle.
Solarte's at third, Smoke at first, and a bouncer foul up the third base side. And right now Martinez is just in spoil mode, just trying to stay alive and try to get one he can handle.
Yeah, you saw that he has struck out 8 times in that 0 for 11 stretch.
Well, it hasn't started the way that Aaron Sanchez wanted it to. He's already at 17 pitches, leadoff homer, an error behind him. And a ground ball to third, tricky hop to second one, and no chance for a play at first. You could feel Solarte thinking, where do I go, which base? And he probably made the right decision, because even if he hurries it, I don't think they get to him.
No, but it was a great grab on that short hop. And you're right. It looked like he was thinking about going to first. Watch his first move once he gets the ball. He says, across the diamond? No, I still have time to get Ramirez. And that's a wise decision, because he erases that runner from scoring position. But his first thought was to go across the diamond at first base. But he made a nice grab on that tricky hop to the backhand.
So the fielder's choice leaves a man at first. Martinez now 2 down, and here's young Rafael Devers, 21-year-old third baseman, putting up solid numbers to start the season. Looked good, but it's called inside, and Sanchez behind again.
For this start, there was a lot of talk about Aaron's velocity being down, but he's right at 95, 96, and I was never concerned about the numbers because I think he was more focused on making pitches. But he's got a good fastball early in this game.
And it goes, oh, it was a 2-0 changeup right there. He throws his changeup hard. I think that was the changeup, but it was 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's been able to soften it up over his last couple of starts. We've seen it down to 84, 85 miles an hour, and that's where he wants it. That's when it's most effective.
And a chopper foul, 2-2. Part of the evolution, I guess, from thrower to pitcher. You talked about how he always outstuffed guys. Now he's trying to work in that changeup more.
You look at 2016, and he says, hey, I was trying to hang on to a spot in the rotation, so I couldn't experiment with second and third pitches. I had to use my fastball. Last year as a write-off because of the injury, but he's really increased his usage of that changeup.
Up to 96 there as he misses inside. And that's going to give Martinez a running start. Smoke will come off the bag and play behind the runner. Eduardo Nunez on deck. Should the inning continue for the Red Sox? There goes the runner. 3-2 on the way, and a swing and a miss and a high fastball. And that's all for the Red Sox. But they do get a run on the leadoff home run by Mookie Betts, his 7th of the season, 1-0 Boston. For tonight against the left-hander. I mean, Steve Pearce is leading off, as he often does against lefties. And that means that Kendrys Morales swings from his strong side, and he's had good numbers against Eduardo Rodriguez in his career. Kevin Pillar's off to a nice start this season, especially here at home.
25-year-old Eduardo Rodriguez has been good his first 3 starts. He did not start until the 8th Red Sox game of the year because he was coming back from off-season knee surgery. And he has been terrific, and he was acquired in a trade with the Baltimore Orioles.
Steve Pearce, first pitch swinging, deep left and off the wall. Pearce is going to have to hustle to second, and he swims around the tag attempt for a double. This guy was born to be a leadoff hitter, Buck.
Absolutely. He's the perfect leadoff hitter. He got about halfway to second. He went, oh, this is not going to be good. Break out the emergency slide. Because Benintendi's got a strong arm, and he made a good throw to second. But Pearce busting it out of the box. It hits up off the wall. And Benintendi plays it very well and then delivers a perfect throw to second. Pearce is out by a mile. But he uses that swim move. Watch how he takes his left hand, takes it away from Nunez, and grabs the bag with his right hand. Terrific slide by Pearce.
And somehow managed to keep his right hand on the bag the entire time. What a play by Pearce. It's a leadoff double. And the batter is Teoscar Hernandez.
Pierce halfway to second thinking, oh man, I'm going to be out. I got to come up with something real good. And he does. A terrific slide. And you're right, the challenging part was holding on to the base with his right hand.
Benintendi made a good throw. The ball was hit hard off the wall. And Pierce, not great speed, but he still found a way to get into second base. A long look back by Rodriguez. And again. And finally, Hernandez asked for time, and you can't blame him.
Yeah, that generally means that the pitcher isn't real sure about the pitch he's about to throw. So he's kind of waiting, saying, you know what, I want somebody to call timeout and get another sign.
And a swing and a miss at a belt-tie fastball, 1-1.
You know, everybody's thinking right now, well, Hernandez should try to hit the ball to the right side. I don't think so early in the game. Let him hit. He's an extra base guy. He's driven in 10 runs. Give him a couple of free hacks against Rodriguez early in this ballgame.
Infielders, as you can see, they're playing him to pull, not a full shift, with the second baseman Nunez being on the other side of the bag, but a lot of room on that right side of the infield right now. And he takes a little up and in, 2 balls in a strike. After Hernandez, Justin Smoak hitting in the 3 spot. Blue Jays down 1-0 as they bat here in the bottom of the first, fresh off their 4-3 extra innings victory over the Red Sox last night. Blue Jays went just 6-13 against Boston a year ago, so they're happy to get the first one under their belt here last night. Another good take on a close pitch, 3-1.
This is the biggest improvement in Hernandez at the plate, his ability to recognize pitches early. What they did was they opened up his stance a bit, so he had a better look at the pitcher's arm and the release point, and because of that, he's been able to identify those pitches off the plate.
Got in on him. Pierce going back to consider tagging. Betts now coming in on the ball, and it's just not deep enough for Pierce to risk it. Let's take a look at the Boston defense. We've already seen the arm from Andrew Benintendi.
Well, he's going to be important tonight. He's already made a great play in left field with a good strong throw, and because the left-handed Rodriguez is on the mound and the right-handed bats of the Blue Jays, I think he's going to get a lot of action in left field, so he becomes very good. He's a terrific defender. You can see where he's moving Jackie Bradley and himself around. They're playing off the hitter now, but they've got 3 center fielders in their outfield. They can all go get it.
Now Justin Smoak with a runner at second and 1 out. Look at how far off the line Hanley Ramirez is. He's basically halfway between first and second. So, and this again is part of shifting. You see this more and more. So if Smoak hits a ground ball, I mean, Hanley's got to get on his horse to get over there to first base.
Well, and that's what they're saying. Hanley, you have to beat Smoak to the base. The only other first baseman I've seen play that far away was Lyle Overbay when he was playing first base for the Blue Jays.
And under the hands of Smoak, and Rodriguez falls behind, 2 balls, no strikes. Smoak hitting just .228, but he's still getting on base, as you can see. He's taking his walks, a .354 on base percentage, but started off the season very well. Has cooled off on the heels of his best year, by far his best year last year, an all-star season. That's a fair ball, backhanded stop. Devers, long throw is wide of Ramirez and skips up into the seats. A run will score, and Smoak will take second. And that play just kind of had trouble written all over it for the Red Sox from the moment the ball left the bat.
Well, and we talked about Ramirez and how far he was away from first base. Devers caught the ball and then double clutched because he was waiting on Ramirez to get to the bag. And that's the problem with shifting a first baseman so far away from first. Look where Ramirez is. And now he's got to run. And look at Devers look up. And he's got to wait for Ramirez to get planted at first base. And when he does that, he throws wide and off the line. It's another error on Devers, his 5th of the season. But watch the hesitation. He's got to wait for Ramirez to get set on the bag because Hanley was too far away from first.
Here's Solarte. The Blue Jays have tied it. And Solarte lifts a towering fly ball to left field, but it's going to stay in the park for Benintendi, a step shy of the track. 2 down.
Statistically, the Red Sox are playing good defense. They've only committed 6 errors now, but they haven't played well in the field, especially on the infield. They miss Pedroia's presence at second base. Ramirez is basically a shortstop trying to get comfortable at first. Devers is 21 years old. I think he's going to be real good. But right now, he's made the majority of the errors for the Red Sox.
So they've committed 6. He's got 5 of them. And Christian Vasquez, the catcher, has the other one. Base hit and an error. No RBI on the play for Smoke. Blue Jays tied at 1, and here's Kendrys Morales, who's hitting .229 on the season. This is his strong side. And he just about came out of his shoes because he saw a rare first pitch fastball.
Well, and you can see the Blue Jays have a scouting report on Rodriguez. Pierce hit the first pitch. The guys are up there hacking at the first pitch. Solarte went after the first pitch, as did Morales.
You know, you made a great point about how the Devers play was complicated by the fact that Ramirez took so long, through no fault of his own, to get to first. Shifting, and again, it's all based in numbers. It's all based in facts that things should play out in your favor more often than not. But occasionally guys are being asked to do things they're not used to doing, whether it's a later throw, more of a cover, different positioning. Every now and again, you're just taking guys out of their comfort zone, and stuff like that happens.
You've got a 21-year-old third baseman. Say Josh Donaldson is making that play. He might try to lead Ramirez to the bag as opposed to waiting for him to get there. But you can't really blame Devers nor handling Ramirez because the analytics tell Ramirez where to play.
Runner at second, 2 down. And the 1-2 up and in. Now the Blue Jays will take the gift, and it's tied at 1 here in the bottom of the first. Steve Pearce has had a couple of interesting nights. Last night he's on the front end of a hit and run. He's the base runner when John Gibbons puts the hit and run on with Russell Martin at the plate. Pearce told me before the game he thinks that's the first time that's happened to him as a member of the Blue Jays since he got to Toronto, that he's in motion on a hit and run. Now tonight a great slide on a leadoff double.
And he scores from second on an infield hit.
That's why he's worked up a pretty good lather already.
He's had a lot going on early on. He got one pitch, he hit a double, and then he moved around the bases very well.
And he figures to be in the leadoff spot tomorrow night. Blue Jays will see Chris Sale to wrap up the series. Rodriguez working at a very deliberate pace here against these Blue Jays hitters. He's been in the stretch since Pierce doubled on the first pitch. And a swing and a miss and a good breaking ball down and in to get Morales. And that'll end the bottom of the first. Through an eventful inning, it's tied at 1.
History last night. At 37 years and 39 days old, he became the 3rd oldest Blue Jay to hit a walk-off home run behind our very own Buck Martinez and Greg Zahn. Now, according to Granderson. He's been reinvigorated by the energy and young talent on this Blue Jays team. He said, they keep me on my toes, quote, and they make me feel young. According to Kevin Pillar, Granderson has come as advertised as far as being a great clubhouse guy, but he wants to remind fans that Granderson is in great shape. It shouldn't surprise them that he can still contribute on both defense and on offense. Pillar was the first one to reach out to Granderson when he signed on with the Jays. He just knew the veteran outfielder would have a huge impact on him personally and professionally. He's just so positive, always encouraging guys to have better at-bats. Dan, the consummate professional, quote, we are lucky to have him.
Absolutely. He has been tremendous in the clubhouse. That was never in doubt. And what he's done on the field so far for the first few weeks, what he did last night alone.
And look where he's sitting.
Yep.
Right next to Randall Grichuk, who's had a terrible start, a disappointing start. And Granderson, you know, nobody needs to talk to the guys that are hot. You need to talk to the guys that are struggling and let them know, hey, we still believe in you. We still have confidence that you're going to turn things around. And Granderson did this at the start of the spring as far as the outfield play goes. He was always talking to Pillar and Grichuk, talking about communicating, talking about angles and how you get things done in the outfield.
And chasing up and out of the zone is Eduardo Nunez as Sanchez records his second strikeout.
Well, Aaron using that four-seam fastball a little bit tonight, and this is a good example of that. He elevates the fastball upstairs and blows it right by Nunez. You know, the Red Sox struck out 14 times last night. That's very unusual because they are the best team in the American League at keeping the strikeouts at a minimum.
Strike taken by Jackie Bradley Jr., who wasn't thrilled with the call. The Red Sox center fielder hitting .225, a couple of home runs on the season. Blue Jays put the shift on with 3 on the right side. On the appeal he went. This is Dan Iasonia, and quickly Sanchez is out in front 0-2. And so far here in the top of the second, Sanchez's command is way better than it was in the top of the first.
And this is when the changeup becomes most effective, when you throw fastballs for strikes. The changeup, yeah, it's a great pitch, but if you're not throwing fastballs for strikes, there's no reason for hitters to chase the changeup.
So Martin wanted the curveball, got a pretty good one, but Bradley fouled it off. For a young pitcher, always great to have a veteran catcher behind the plate, a guy who's been there, done that. See, Martin wanted the change up there, got it, gets a ground ball. 2 down. The pitch tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball. So 2 down and the base is empty here in the top of the second. And down to the number 8 spot of the Red Sox lineup, Christian Vasquez, off to a slow start with the bat this year. Really known more for his defense, though. Got a really strong arm.
I think the Red Sox have one of the best tandem catching crews in all of baseball. Christian Vasquez and Sandy Leon, they work very well together, and they really bring the best out of this pitching staff.
Man, Sanchez is locked in right now all of a sudden.
Well, like I said, he's not a guy that nibbles at the corners. He needs to throw it in the middle of the plate and let the movement take it to the corners.
Here comes another changeup. He's throwing it hard. You could see when Martin wiggles the 4 fingers, that's the changeup. And that changeup was 91 miles per hour.
A little bit too hard.
Less velocity means more movement, right?
Yeah, he took the movement right out of it because he threw it hard.
And overthrew that one.
Changeup can be the most challenging pitch for any pitcher. Pat Henkin always talked about tinkering with his grip all the time, and it's a field pitch, definitely. And the art of throwing a changeup is you have to recreate fastball action. And there's the master of it right there, Marco Estrada. But you've got to figure out the grip that'll take the most velocity off the pitch.
Sanchez not shy about shaking off a pitcher, wanting to throw the pitch that he is committed to. He wants the fastball. Missed outside and a full count.
You know, when it comes down to the final decision, the pitcher's the one that has to feel good about it. He's got to be 100% committed to the pitch. Catcher just makes suggestions.
Got it. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Red Sox in the top of the second. A much better frame for Aaron Sanchez.
A lifetime opportunity to go all in with Russell Martin and the Blue Jays right here on the field at Rogers Center. Tickets to the 55 Poker Classic in support of Jays Care are on sale now. Visit jayscare.com/poker to sign up and secure your spot today.
All right, Hazel, thank you. And here is Russell Martin to lead off the bottom of the second in a 1-1 tie. He'll be followed by Kevin Pillar and then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Up, down, and into the first pitch from Eduardo Rodriguez. 1-0 on Martin. Martin had the base hit last night. We talked about that hit and run play when Steve Pearce was the runner, and Martin hit a ground ball to the right side and wound up with a base hit as the second baseman went over to cover. I asked Russell, what do you think about when you, first of all, do you like the hit and run side? He says, I love it. And second of all, what do you think about when you get it? He said, just hit the ball hard to the right side. He doesn't think about who do I think is going to cover, where do I think I should hit it. He focuses just on the right side of the field.
Well, I think it's a good tool by the manager because it really narrows the focus of the hitter. You're up there thinking, okay, well, I want to hit a double, I want to do this. When you get the hit and run sign, you think about making contact, put it on the right side, and advance that runner at a minimum to second.
And ground ball to the right side here for out number 1. Let's take a look at what Eduardo Rodriguez features for the Red Sox.
Yeah, he's got a great arm, and you see he's going to throw you a lot of fastballs. More than half the pitches he throws fastballs, and then he'll back it up with a good changeup. The cutter and the slider, they just morph into a different pitch. The cutter is not as big break as this slider, and he'll use that slider down as he did to Kendrys Morales for the strikeout in the first inning. But he was a youngster when the Red Sox acquired him in that trade with Baltimore. Andrew Miller was traded from Boston to Baltimore in a terrific trade for both clubs.
Rodriguez, always a guy the Red Sox have felt has a lot of potential, has battled knee injuries, has had surgery, but a good arm and a guy they really hope is going to solidify the back end of that rotation to be to the 4 spot or the 5 spot. Got some pretty good ones up top. You see Rick Porcello with the far end there. He was terrific last night, but Jay Happ was a little bit better. You saw David Price, whom the Blue Jays will not see in this series. The guy they will see tomorrow is Chris Sale, who's the Cy Young runner-up a year.
These veteran starters have really taken Eduardo Rodriguez under their wing, and they're trying to help him with his side sessions, with his game planning, and they've done a terrific job. Putting an arm over his shoulder saying, hey man, we'll help you get through this. Kind of the same way Jay Happ has done it with the Blue Jays young pitchers. And Happ's always anxious to help anybody out. But when the Red Sox made that trade with the Orioles, Rodriguez was 3-7 in Double-A with Baltimore and Bowie. He had a .479 earned run average. Dave Dombrowski is now the general manager, but at the time it was Ben Cherington, who is now with the Blue Jays, at the helm of the Red Sox, and he's the one that pulled off that trade.
Ball and 2 strikes on Pilar, and there's that slider down and in again, and Pilar did well to get a piece of it. You could see the look on his face after he fouled it off. He said, man, glad I got a piece of that one. Marco Estrada playing the hot corner over in the third base dugout. Lined hard, deep left field. Benintendi will run it down on the edge of the track. Hard hit a ball, but it's out number 2, and that'll give us our first look at the plate tonight for Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
And he looks very comfortable in the early going for sure, and he's 3 for 11. He's already picked up 3 RBIs, and Vasquez had something to say, I'm sure, some encouraging words about his start of his career. 3 games and 3 RBIs already, but he really looks comfortable at the plate.
First start here at home as he takes inside. 24 years of age from Cuba. Figures to play some second, some short for the Blue Jays. 3 for 11, 3 RBIs, couple of strikeouts in the series in the Bronx.
Gurriel's father, Lourdes Sr., a terrific player in Cuba. He played, he managed, he was a star on the national team for years. And he watches both of his sons play every night. So Yuli played this afternoon in Houston. He's already watched that game. So you can bet he's zeroed in on this game watching Lourdes Jr. But he calls him after the game. He said, remember that at bat in the 3rd inning when you were looking for the breaking ball? You should have been looking for the fastball. What a resource.
Devers bobbles, recovers, skips it across, and not in time. Very close, but Gurriel is called safe on the play.
Boy, you love the effort. When a young hitter hits a ball sharply at a defender, he has a tendency to give up, say, oh man, I hit it good, but right at him. But Gurriel never hesitated. You could see Ron Renicky, the bench coach in the Boston dugout, checking with their video. But Gurriel hits it at the 3rd baseman and busted it out of the box and beats it out at first base. Never hesitating. He knows he hit it right at him. And he came out of the box and earns himself the opportunity to get on base with 2 outs.
Waiting to hear if it's a hit or an error. Either way, Gurriel at first with 2 down for Aledmus Diaz. And an error is the ruling. So it's the 2nd error charged tonight to Rafael Devers. You know, it's interesting. Not only did he bobble, after he recovered and had the ball, I think in his bare hand, he tapped the glove once, and he really didn't have time. Watch, tap before he throws. And some guys, it's just kind of like a mental hitch in their delivery, right?
Yeah, just a timing issue, and you can see he's a little frustrated right now. It's been a tough night for him and a tough start to his season. 6 errors now. 6 of the 7 errors the Red Sox have committed this season were by the 3rd baseman. This is a good matchup for Diaz. He likes the fastball, and he's going to get fastballs, and he missed one right there. He's a very good fastball hitter, and when he gets one, he generally squares it up, but he had one to hit and fouled it straight back.
Ball and a strike, 2 down. Gurriel, who certainly from the little we've seen and what we know appears to have pretty good speed. He's the base runner. Vasquez loves to snap a throw down to first. Some sort of inside joke there between Hanley Ramirez and Vasquez. Might have just been the 2 of them communicating on the sign to throw behind the runner down at first. They were having a giggle with one another.
I think Vasquez caught Ramirez flat-footed, kind of surprised him as his reaction was late. Vasquez is very quick. And then he looks down and said, hey, man, coming your way.
1-2. And another play for Devers. That ball came up on him a little bit, but he'll make this play. And that'll be that for the Blue Jays here at the bottom of the second. End of 2, tied at 1. System is getting deeper. Some of them are here already. Teoscar Hernandez, who was acquired in a trade. Gurriel is up right now. Roberto Osuna is still only 23 in his 4th year in the big leagues, but it's some of those guys on the right side that really have people excited.
Alfred's the outfitter. Warmoth is a #1 pick at shortstop. Pearson, a big right-hander. Bo Bichette and Guerrero, of course. But yeah, the core of this team is getting younger and younger, and that's always encouraging. When you look at the Red Sox, they're a perfect example. You got to have youth. You got to have athleticism to compete. And I think the Blue Jays understand that, and they're trying to get younger and more athletic.
Brock Holt leads off the 3rd for Boston. Do you think we see Anthony Alford at some point this season
Yes,
in the Blue Jay uniform?
I do. I don't think he's played the last couple of days. I've been checking the box score. He's been in Buffalo, but I don't think he's played the last couple of days. Bo Bichette hit 2 triples last night. His 3rd triple, 2nd and 3rd triple of the season. He scored 14 runs in the first 16 games for AA. Guerrero has set a franchise record for RBIs in the month of April for the AA team in New Hampshire.
He's the youngest guy in the league, right? 19 years old at AA. And a ground ball for Sanchez as Holt is retired.
Guerrero has 19 RBIs in 5 more games in the month of April. Previous record was 17 by Jake Fox in 2015, so he's tearing it up. And my concern with those 2 guys, Bichette grew up in Florida, Guerrero grew up in the Dominican. They're playing in New Hampshire where it's been freezing, and they're both off to great starts.
You're just kind of getting people all excited again talking about those 2 because everybody wants to see them. Blue Jays fans are just so excited about Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Here's Betts, who homered to lead off the top of the 1st. What do you know? What have you seen? What do you like about Logan Warmoth?
He's a shortstop that's very athletic, and he's a guy that's playing in Dunedin. #1 pick.
College kid, though,
year.
right? So
yeah,
he might come a little bit quicker.
Quick.
Yep.
But you know what? You become a good organization when you have multiple good players at different levels, and that's what the Blue Jays are starting to get. I mentioned Ben Cherington, who was the GM when the Boston Red Sox acquired Eduardo Rodriguez. He was named the Vice President of Baseball Operations for the Blue Jays on the 16th of September in 2016. So he is now a big part of this organization and what they're doing with their farm system.
Betts lays off the high fastball. And if you talk to Mark Shapiro or Ross Atkins about it, they are extremely pleased with how the farm system is progressing, but they don't consider it a finished product. They both still feel there's more work to be done. They want more depth, more talent, more competition for jobs at all levels.
Yeah, and that's how you become a consistent winner. And Mark Shapiro knows that they've got some good people in charge. Gil Kim is also in charge of the farm system. He's done a great job, and they've implemented a lot of fundamental training to make the players better.
There's a changeup for a swing and a miss. Again, it's a hard one at 90, but Betts swings through it.
Well, as we mentioned, the changeup becomes more effective when you throw more fastballs for strikes. And even though this is 90, you can see the grip, the spin. The spin is exactly the same as the spin of his two-seam fastball. So hitters see the spin, they identify it, and they think they're getting the heater.
So it has been a terrific Aaron Sanchez since really very early in the game. He surrenders the leadoff home run to Mookie Betts on a 2-0 pitch. He fell behind a couple of other hitters in the first, but he is totally locked in right now. He has struck out 4 of the last 6 hitters. That ball's going to stay fair. Smoke will meet it at the bag, and that's another 1-2-3 inning. Aaron Sanchez is in a groove right now. Blue Jays coming up at a 1-1 tie.
Baseball 18. RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone.
Thank you, Hazel. We go to the bottom of the third here at Rogers Center. Dan Schulman and Buck Martinez. A 1-1 tie between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. And here's the guy who got it started in the first for the Jays, Steve Pearce. He first pitch swinging in the first, doubled off the wall. Great swim slide out at second to get in safely, and then came around with a base hit and an error in a Justin Smoke at bat.
That last pitch was a cutter, and the Blue Jays looking for first pitch fastballs, and that cutter, you can see it's off the plate inside, and Pearce pulled it well foul.
Like a changeup there, and it's 0-2.
Yep. The changeups, like I said, they're most effective after you throw strikes with your fastball and cutter, both hard pitches.
And he strikes him out on 3 pitches. Cutter in, changeup away, then fastball up. Tough sequence there from Rodriguez.
The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now. Yeah, that's a perfect sequence of pitches. Cutter in, foul ball, changeup, swing and a miss, and a fastball up out over the plate.
Teoscar Hernandez flied out to right. Hernandez, a guy that Alex Cora knows well. Cora was a coach with the World Series champion Houston Astros last year. Hernandez broke in with the Astros, and Cora just speaks very highly of Hernandez as a person. High fly ball to left field. Benintendi still going back and on the warning track will haul it in. Man, that one just about carried on out of here.
Absolutely a sky-high fly ball. Benintendi, we talked about highlighting him in defense because we thought he was going to be busy, and he has been. But this was a terrific play. Watch Benintendi. He takes his eye totally off the ball, turns his back to the infield, gets to where he expects it to come down and waits for it. As we mentioned, all three of these outfielders for Boston can play center. They can play anywhere. They're terrific athletes. And that was way up there, and Benintendi turned his back, ran to the warning track, and waited for it.
Now Justin Smoke off the glove of Rodriguez. Here comes Devers. Big stretch, Hanley Ramirez, and they will get the out at first. Rodriguez with a point to Hanley Ramirez. Are the Blue Jays going to consider whether or not they want to have a look at this one? Doesn't look like it. Ramirez appears to be okay. Let's wait a minute. Got DeMarlo Hale on the phone still. Let's see if Ramirez was able to keep that foot on the bag. Yep, sure looks like it. So terrific play by Hanley Ramirez, so the Jays go in order.
In the last inning, it reminds us of last night in Arlington. 6'5" Rangers first baseman Ronald Guzman performed a picture-perfect splits to help retire Oakland's Matt Chapman in the 6th inning. Now, I asked some of the Blue Jays who played first base for their reaction and whether they've ever had to do the splits. And through interpreter Josue Pele, Kendrys Morales said he did it once in Cuba, not quite that low, but swore he would never do it again. Morales said he really needed a lift to get him back up on his feet. And then he said, quote, "That split would break my life completely." Steve Pearce said he's short, so it's easier for him to do the splits. He's done it, and it's amazing, he said, what your body can do when you want to make a play badly. And as for Justin Smoke, Dan, well, when I asked him if he was capable of the Ronald Guzman feat, Smoke said, quote, "Are you kidding me, Hazel? Bleep no."
That's the best thing about Justin. He gets right to the point with his answers.
He's a man of few words.
I don't think we're going to see him doing the splits anytime soon. The Blue Jays will see the Texas Rangers over the weekend. They're in here Friday through Sunday. Rangers off to a tough start this year. And Adrian Beltre just went on the deal with a hamstring injury.
Shortstop Elvis Andrus has a broken elbow. Second baseman Odor on the DL with a hamstring, and now Beltre has been out. So the Blue Jays are getting them at the right time.
Hanley Ramirez reached on an error his first time up. Aaron Sanchez surrendered a leadoff home run to Mookie Betts and has not given up anything since other than Ramirez reaching on the air. He has struck out 4, and his command, which was off for about the first 4 batters, has been rock solid since. And he strikes at another one, and look at the late movement on that changeup.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Hanley is okay. He didn't have a very good approach in that bat. Remember, he took that stretch and looked like he banged his hand over at first base when he was stretching for that throw from Devers. And watch how he loses balance at home plate and kind of just dropped the bat, looked at his hand. And now again on the last pitch, he's just, I don't think he's right. I think something happened to him when he stretched for that ball at first.
Talking to somebody from across the field, it looks like. J.D. Martinez is the batter. He reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. And that'll be a base hit into center field. Second hit of the night for the Red Sox.
J.D. Martinez has really been scuffling. He was 0 for 12 with 8 strikeouts before getting that hit. And he goes right back up the middle. That's the best approach, you know, when you're scuffling. Just try to hit it back up the middle. Hit it hard on the ground and things will turn around for you.
So now again, Sanchez will be looking to do what he's done on a number of occasions this year. Get an opposing hitter to hit the ball on the ground and hopefully have a chance to turn 2. That fastball rises up and out of the zone for ball 1 to Devers, who struck out in his first at bat. So he's had a tough night. A strikeout, 2 errors charged to him. And really could have had a third were it not for the play by Ramirez. That's a big swing right there. That's a long swing that Devers took there. But make no mistake, he's got talent.
Drumsticks. Nice and hard here.
Popped him up, shallow left field. And Pierce is there for the second out.
Another good use of the changeup. Had Devers out on that front foot. He got underneath and hits a lazy pop up to left field. So you're right, Dan. It's a different Aaron Sanchez after the first inning. He's been able to get his fastball into the strike zone early. The first run of the game, a home run, came on a 2-0 pitch, the third pitch of the game after he fell behind Mookie Betts.
Aaron threw 24 pitches in the first inning. He's thrown 35 in the next 2 2/3. So he's become much more efficient as well. Here's Nunez, who struck out his first time up. And they are having some big cuts at his fastball, but they're coming up empty.
Yeah, again, this is a team that doesn't strike out much. That has been their MO over the years, and they had 14 strikeouts in last night's game. So far, they've already struck out 5 times tonight.
Red Sox are in their first rut of the season. They came into a game Saturday in Oakland with a record of 17-2, the first team since the 1987 Milwaukee Brewers to start a year 17-2. But they've lost 3 in a row since. Backing up Solarte, long throw, dug out by Smoke. Big fella didn't need to do the splits on that one, but made the play just fine. Thank you. Bailing out Solarte. No runs, a base hit, and a man left, and that's all for the Red Sox. Thanks to one of the best over at first, Justin Smoke.
Inside the TD Zone are guests from one of TD's community partners. And a reminder, watch the 2018 NHL Draft Lottery this week on Hockey Central Saturday, sponsored by Molson Canadian, proud partner of the NHL.
All right, Hazel, well, we see some hockey jerseys and T-shirts amongst all the Blue Jay jerseys here at Rogers Center. Yangervis Solarte will lead off the bottom of the fourth for the Blue Jays in this 1-1 tie. Solarte hit a high fly ball to fairly deep left field his first time up, but he has cooled off. He's 1 for his last 19 after getting off to a great start in the season, so he's down to 233 right now. Nunez sets his feet and makes the play, 1 down. Blue Jay offense with a number of hitters struggling right now, plus a couple of hitters injured. Yet they're one of the top offensive teams in baseball. A big reason why is, for the most part, they've hit very, very well with runners in scoring position. And sometimes it's as much when you hit as how much you hit. Can you string your hits together? And they've had a number of those sequences this year. 3-4 hits in a row, scoring runs, and sometimes without the benefit of a home run. And of course, they've been tremendously reliant on the home run in recent years, not so much so far early this year.
But they have homered in 18 games this season, and a home run is still a big part of their game. But I think the balance in the lineup, you know, everybody hasn't been clicking all at the same time. Granderson has been very consistent of late. It was Solarte and Smoke early.
Scooped up at short by Holt, and with Morales running, he's got time. 2 down.
It was a nice play by Holt at shortstop. He was right on the edge of the turf, and you never know if he's going to hit that lip of the turf prior to getting to the dirt, but he was there. He squares up. Watch how quickly he gets in position to field this ball. He moves to his right and then kind of says, okay, I've got to backhand this, and he was really deliberate in how he went down and speared that ball, not knowing if he's going to get a tough op or not.
So 2 down and the base is empty for Russell Martin, who grounded out his first time up. They're tied at 1, each team with 2 hits. But I think you'd agree, as many runs as they've scored early, at some point, some of the guys who aren't going got to get going, and obviously they've got to get Donaldson back at some point. For them to have a really good year, they've got to get a healthy Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the best run producers in the game, and they need him back top of the order. But you're right. You know, Devin Travis has to get going. Grichuk's got to get it going. Russell Martin needs to hit more than he's hitting right now. They all know that.
Martin out by a step as the Jays go in order, and we're at the end of 4, now tied at 1. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Start your night with the Blue Jays tomorrow. The first 15,000 fans in attendance receive this Josh Donaldson t-shirt. Then join us pregame in the WestJet flight deck for live music and entertainment. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Dan, you mentioned Josh Donaldson. We know he's still nursing that sore right shoulder. We got a little bit more of an update from manager John Gibbons. He's throwing, has progressed. He's long tossing, but before he can get into some rehab games this week, he needs to do some throwing to the bases first. So he is long tossing, and he is still scheduled to get into some rehab games this week.
All right, Hazel, thank you. A 1-1 tie as the Red Sox come up here in the top of the fifth. It'll be the bottom third of the order. Bradley, Vasquez, and Holt. Jackie Bradley Jr. grounded out his first time up. Shows bunt. That one, that changeup skips in the dirt. It's ball 2-0. As Bradley was thinking about pushing a bunt up the third baseline with the defense playing him to pull. Solarte is still alone. He's on the left side of the infield in case Bradley drops a bunt down. You've got Diaz swung around to the other side along with Gurriel and Smoke. And he is going to try to bunt for a base hit, but he pushes it foul, 2-1. Once Luis Rivera, who's in charge of the infielders, feels that a bunt for a base hit is no longer a possibility, that's sometimes why you see Solarte and Diaz then switching. And that's what Luis doing right now. He's trying to get their attention. So now Luis Rivera doesn't feel like Bradley will do it again. So now you may as well put the shortstop back on his natural side of the bag. You don't need the third baseman to charge a bunt. So Solarte goes over to the other side, and Diaz is back in his customary position at short. And we want to thank Luis Rivera for doing that at the exact moment we were talking about it to help us illustrate it. Upstairs, 3-1. And again, it's the evolution of the shift. At the beginning, when shifts came in, you either shifted or you didn't, but now teams are shifting differently, even during specific at-bats, depending on the count. Ball 4.
Well, it depends, too, on your athletes and who you have. And Solarte is a utility player that happens to be playing a lot at third, so you keep him there to guard against the possibility of a bunt until that count changes to the bunt's no longer a possibility.
The Blue Jays feel if the bunt's no longer a possibility, then Solarte, if he's still on the left side, he's where a shortstop is, so he's out of position. And Diaz is where the second baseman normally is, so he's out of position. So they'd rather have just one guy out of position, and that's why they flip-flop him back. Christian Vasquez. Change up for a strike.
Much better velocity there at 86, and you come into an at-bat thinking about that first pitch fastball, and he's able to command that changeup a little more effectively when he's throwing 86 miles an hour. We saw him throw some in the dirt, but they were 90, 91.
And that hit him. A lot of movement on that pitch in on Vasquez, and now Sanchez has to deal with two men on and nobody out.
Now that moving fastball comes inside and clips the catcher. Vasquez, you can see the movement, that two-seam spin catches him on the right elbow. So Aaron's created a situation for himself here in the fifth inning. He walked Betts to start the inning, and now he hits Vasquez. These are the guys you got to retire. Bottom of the order. You want to take advantage of that.
Now a pretty hot hitter coming up. Yes, he's the number 9 hitter, but Brock Holt has been tough. Solarte is way in at third base against Holt. So Sanchez, after we talked about locking in with his command, just sailing through the second, third, and fourth. Now a walk, a hit batter, and ball 1 to Holt.
Yeah, the Red Sox don't bunt often. They have just one sacrifice bunt all season long, and the way Holt's swinging the bat, I think they want to take advantage of these first two runners reaching. You know, all the time we talk about insurance and protection for hitters in the lineup. Brock Holt's batting 9th, but he's got Mookie Betts batting behind him. You can't have a better guy hitting behind you. So Holt is a left-handed hitter, knows that they got to be aggressive and try to come after him.
Holt's adept at using the whole field. Often shoots the ball the other way between third and short. A pretty good hole there right now with Diaz playing up the middle more, trying to keep the runner close out at second.
Steve Pearce is playing in left field. Last night in the 9th inning, it was Granderson, and Tim Leeper had just moved Granderson in a step and toward the foul line a step when Brock Holt hit that ball to left field. That scored the tying run, but Leeper felt like he didn't want Brock Holt to slap one down the line, so he moved Granderson in a perfect spot.
Runners are going, and the pitch is swung on. Pearce falls down, trying to go back and get it. It would have been by him anyways. One run is going to score because the runners had to hold up to see if the ball would be caught. And the Blue Jays, I think, may be contending that a runner passed a runner ahead of him around third base because there was all kinds of confusion for the Red Sox base runners.
Yeah, that's what they're going to look at because Jackie Bradley, the lead runner, had held up just before he got to third. First of all, the ball's lifted to left. The runners are moving on the pitch. Now Bradley has to locate it, and then Pearce falls down. By the time he gets up, there's Vasquez coming, and Vasquez alertly put on the brakes and did not pass Jackie Bradley Jr. So Bradley comes in to score. And what a series of events. Another thing is the fact that Bradley did not touch third base initially when he was moving on the pitch. He came up short of it. So there was no concern about him going back. Now the umpires are going to have a conference of their own. Boy, there were a lot of things going on in that play.
Sure were. It did look like Vasquez was able to put the brakes on before he passed Bradley, and give him a lot of credit for being alert and aware of exactly what was going on at the time. As Brock Holt hurts the Blue Jays again. And John Gibbons has asked for something. I think the conversation may have been whatever it is he's asking for, is it reviewable? And now you can see the umpires making that universal signal. They're going to put the headsets on and talk to New York.
Yeah, and you have to be specific in what you want reviewed. And there's Jackie Bradley. He never touched third from what I saw. And then Vasquez alertly looks at the runner and says, I got to slow down here. Then Bradley steps on third, scores. Vasquez would then stop at third. So there's a lot going on. And I'm not sure what the Blue Jays would want to review, possibly whether or not Bradley touched the base and retouched it, but I don't think it's necessary because there wasn't a ball caught. So the Blue Jays have challenged this play, and Brock Holt extends his hit streak to 8 straight games. And Pearce was playing very shallow when that ball was hit. He took off, and in his haste to get back, he stumbled and fell down.
And whatever it was they were reviewing, it doesn't go the Blue Jays' way. So it's a double for Holt, drives in a run. It gives the Red Sox a 2-1 lead, and there are runners at second and third with nobody out. And we are told that the review was whether or not Vasquez had passed Bradley. And it looked fairly clear from the replay that we saw that that wasn't the case.
Now here's the benefit of Mookie Betts batting leadoff. Bottom of the order gets on, a walk, a hit batter, and a double. Now he's hitting with nobody out.
So Sanchez gave up the home run, had difficulty with his command in the first, was lights out, second, third, fourth. Now he's in some trouble here in the fifth. A run in, second and third, nobody out. The Blue Jays will concede a run on a ground ball for the most part, and you often see this with runners at second and third, because if you bring the infield in and the ball gets through, it's 2 runs. Sometimes if there's just a runner at third, they are generally more likely to bring the infield in. The Blue Jays want to stay out of the big inning here. High in the air to right field. Hernandez setting up. Vasquez tagging, comes about a third of the way down the line and then retreats. Pretty good looking throw there by Hernandez, was right on line, cut by Smoke.
Hernandez got himself in good position. All of his momentum was going toward home, and the runner, the catcher's at third. Watch the third base coach, Carlos Fablis. He's going to run down the line and get right into the sight line of the runner. And then watch him. Throws up the stop sign. Vasquez looking right at him said, okay, I got you. But Fabulous got himself in a real good position to make the decision, send him or hold him, and he held him. Hernandez did a good job of getting in position to catch that.
So now the batter is Benintendi, 0 for 2. And over his last 14. The two-seam fastball was riding up on him. It came back towards the plate, but he wanted to bail out early just in case. And John Gibbons has the bullpen up with Sanchez fighting it a little bit here in the 5th inning. Aaron Loop is up. And that's got Devers and Bradley, the 5 and 7 hitters, written all over it. Sanchez will take that call. It's 2-1.
The Blue Jays really handled Benintendi effectively last night. He struck out 4 times for the first time this season, and they used a lot of high fastballs.
Down the left field line, slicing and foul.
Russell Martin was behind the plate last night, and Jay Hepp, he really did a number on Benintendi. And Tepera struck out Benintendi in the 8th. Hepp had struck him out all 3 times he'd faced him, and they used the high fastball, and this is a perfect time to elevate it once again.
Now, this is not a get a ground ball moment, which Sanchez often wants. This is get a strikeout moment. Inside. Hanley Ramirez on deck. JD Martinez behind him. And the Blue Jays trying to keep it to just a 1-run deficit here. Wooden chase, and the bases are loaded. And Pete Walker, the pitching coach, jogging out to the mound.
Well, it's a good time to give Aaron a little break and talk about this next at bat. Hanley Ramirez hit the ball sharply in the 1st inning. Hit a line drive to right that was dropped by Hernandez in right field for an error. And then in the next at bat in the 4th, it looked like he was bothered with his hands or something. He didn't have a very good at bat and ultimately struck out. But Ramirez has a little success against Sanchez. In Aaron's final start in 2016 at Boston, he was no-hitting the Red Sox into the 7th inning, and Hanley Ramirez hit a home run. The only run Boston would score that night, and Aaron won his 15th game. They beat Boston 2-1.
7 career grand slams for Ramirez. What a pivotal moment of this game this is. 2-1 Red Sox, bases loaded, 1 out here in the 5th. And a ground ball to second. There's 1, and there's 2. What a huge moment for Aaron Sanchez to come off the field. Gurriel and Diaz, countrymen, collaborating on that double play ball. And even Sanchez can manage a smile coming off the field. Just 1 run for the Red Sox in the top of the 5th. Jr. and Ledmus Diaz in on it as well, keeping the Blue Jays down just 1 run.
Watch how Gurriel shovels it quickly to Diaz, and he did that with a lot of confidence. Watch how he comes after the ball and then steps right to the bag and gives him a real firm feed. And Diaz has a strong arm, and I tell you what, these two kids love playing next to each other in the double play combination, and they really got Sanchez out on a nasty jam.
There's John Gibbons' reaction on that double play. He gets a little fired up. That was huge. Bases loaded, 1 out. Hanley Ramirez up. That could have gone a number of different ways, and it went about as well as it could for the Blue Jays. So they're down just 1. As Kevin Pillar leads off the bottom of the 5th. Pillar, Gurriel, Diaz coming up. Pillar hit the ball hard, lining out to deep left field his first time up. And a chopper to the left side. Here comes Devers, the third baseman, to get him by a step.
The 2018 Civic. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May. Glad you're with us tonight here at the Rogers Center. It's a 2-1 lead for the Red Sox, bottom 5. Middle game of this 3-game set between the first place Red Sox and the second place Blue Jays. As Gurriel looks at a strike right over the outside edge. Reached on an error his first time up, showed good speed down the line.
He's got a nice set of tools. We saw him start that double play. We've seen him swing the bat very confidently, and he appears to have a pretty good game plan when he steps in the box.
In 12 games at AA New Hampshire this year, Gurriel was hitting .347. Had 17 hits and 49 at bats, including 5 extra base hits. Doesn't walk often. It walked only 3 times, but it only struck out 6 times. Takes that pitch outside, 2-2.
Gurriel hit a line drive to the fence in New York that Brett Gardner made a nice play on, and I think he's going to develop power as well.
This is going to back up Nunez, the second baseman, and safe at first. Gurriel as the throw pulled Ramirez off the bag.
Yeah, that play right there is a result of his previous at bat when he beat the throw to first base on the air by Devers. Again, Renicky checking with the video replay room, but watch how quickly Nunez has to unload because he knows Gurriel can run. He doesn't get his feet set, doesn't get much on the throw, and it's offline at first base. So the players react to what you see earlier in the game. Gurriel had busted it down the line his first time, and he forces Nunez to make a hurried throw. What's Madden say? Respect 90? You respect 90, good things will happen for you.
Gurriel's done it twice. Credited with an infield hit on that play, and here's Diaz. Diaz grounding out his first time up. He's dropped his average down below the 200 mark right now. He's at 197 4 home runs. Again, Gurriel, pretty good speed, being held on by Ramirez. And as a result, a big hole on the right side of the infield. He's running. And it is swung on and missed, and a ball in the dirt by Diaz, and that'll be a stolen base for Gurriel.
Well, John Gibbons knows he didn't have some of his big bats on the active roster right now. No Tulowitzki, no Donaldson, so he's got to play a little different style of game. We saw the hit and run last night that led to a 3-run inning, and that's what they did again here with the number 9 hitter. Start to runner, it's a changeup in the dirt, and Diaz just swinging to protect the base runner. Gurriel ends up with his first stolen base.
I think Gibby likes pushing the buttons a little bit more, whether it's a hit and run or a straight steal. They haven't done a lot of this in the last couple of years, but they've got some more weapons in those areas this year.
Well, I think what happens is when you don't have Bautista, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, and Encarnacion, guys that can knock it out of the ballpark, you're not going to score as many runs, so you have to be more creative. And you don't have a lineup, although the Blue Jays have homered a lot, you don't have a lineup that's loaded with home run hitters.
Runner at second, one down, and the 1-2 to Diaz in the dirt and blocked really nicely by Vasquez.
If you're going to construct a catcher, you'd use Christian Vasquez as the mold. See, even though he was down on one knee, he still has great position to block it. He's about 5'10", stocky body, and he's very athletic behind the plate.
Two up high. Diaz takes it a full count. On deck, leadoff man Steve Pearce.
I think Rodriguez be very careful with the fastball here. Diaz a terrific fastball hitter. I don't think he wants to give him a cookie on the fastball.
Roller to third, threw him a changeup and gets the second out. Gurriel still stuck out at second now with 2 down. And Vasquez will head to the mound. You'll see the umpire record this as a mound visit. 6 allowed per team per game, and there it is with Scott Berry marking it down on his card. Welcome to baseball 2018.
A big at bat, obviously, and you're going to show good judgment when you use those mound visits. Carlos Fabulous talking with the skipper, and I think they're talking about the Nunez throw a little bit. Fabulous is the infield instructor, and Cora was a terrific infielder in his playing day. But Nunez got a little rushed and threw wide of the mark at first.
Pearce looking for a big 2-out base hit to try to cash in a Gurriel. Doubled and scored in the first, struck out in the third. Middle game of a 3-game series. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May, 2-1 Red Sox at the bottom of the 5th. Each team scoring a run back in the first inning. As Mookie Betts homered to lead off the game for the Red Sox, and then the Jays came back with their run, scored on an error that cashed into Pearce, who, as we mentioned, had doubled the lead off the inning. Boston retaking the lead at the top of the 5th as Brock Holt doubled home Jackie Bradley Jr. Eduardo Rodriguez has been very good for Boston. Aaron Sanchez, for the most part, has been excellent for the Blue Jays. Second, third, and fourth inning, he was mowing them down, but he had some control problems in the 5th. Got a huge double play ball, though, off the bat of Hanley Ramirez to minimize the damage. The bases were loaded with 1 out. And he got Ramirez to bounce into a 4-6-3 double play. Turn him loose?
Yes, absolutely.
Looks like he had the option, but elected to take it.
Changeup. And Pearce, he's pretty comfortable hitting now. He really understands where he's at, and it's good to see him hitting in the leadoff spot. He's done a nice job. He and Granderson doing the majority of the work, top of the order. We'll get another off-speed pitch here.
He did. 3-2.
It's just very difficult to commit to looking for a breaking ball when you're a good fastball hitter like Pearce is, but he threw him that changeup at 87. He threw Diaz a cutter to get him to ground out to third with 2 strikes.
A look back at Gurriel and the 3-2, a swing and a liner into left field. That's down for a base hit. Gurriel around third, heading home, and in there in a slide to tie the game.
Gurriel running with 2 outs, gets a good jump, gets waved all the way. Benintendi's got a good arm, but Gurriel simply legs it out and swipes his left hand across home plate to score the tying run. Wait, Gurriel is impressive in what we have seen in a very short time.
Yeah, the more you see him do in different areas of the game, the more you like what you see. Whether it's the arm strength, the speed, the energy that he brings. That double play, you talked about a double play that he turned back at Yankee Stadium where he got to the bag and the runner was bearing down on him, and he wasn't even able to step towards first. He just flipped the ball flat-footed, almost sidearm to first base, and showed really impressive arm strength. Hernandez is 0 for 2 on the night. And a foul ball, just foul down the left field line. Pierce is still running. He's at third base right now and finally got the bad news.
Dan Iasonia, the third base umpire. Louis Rivera turned to the dugout and said, we better look at that one. This is a reviewable play because the umpire has to turn around to make the call. Once the ball is past him, it's a reviewable play, but you can see it's clearly foul.
The Blue Jays lost their challenge earlier, right?
Yeah.
They had a challenge earlier and it didn't go their way, so. But it was a foot or so foul. Here's trying to catch his breath back at first base. 0-2 on Teoscar Hernandez. Two tried to check it and he succeeded. The Blue Jays have tied it. Twice tonight the Red Sox have scored a run, and twice in the very next half inning the Blue Jays have come back to tie it. Gurriel reenacting his base running for Aledmus Diaz. They're having a good time over there. 1-2. And that's going to sneak through for a base hit. Pierce up to second.
Another good approach for Hernandez with 2 strikes. He really cuts his swing down and is able to pull it through the left side. Trying to catch that outside corner. Rodriguez threw in that cutter. Hernandez pulled it through the hole.
Meeting on the mound, Daniel Levanchi, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, out to talk to Vasquez and Rodriguez. Blue Jays winning the opening game of the series 4-3 last night. Twice they've battled back from a 1-run deficit to tie it against Alex Cora's Red Sox. Tough wiping the smile out that guy's face right now. He is always in a good mood when he's at the ballpark. You see it during BP around the cage all the time. You see it on the field. You see it in the clubhouse.
Very refreshing.
Yep, Teoscar's enjoying himself. Here's Smoke. And playing hard and having fun are not mutually exclusive things. You can do both of those at the same time.
Absolutely you can. We've seen that in a very short time with Gurriel. Josue Pele, the interpreter, has been close to the Gurriel family for a number of years. Unieski, the oldest of the 3 brothers, played in Montreal, and that's when Pele got to know him. And then Josue was part of the entourage who went down to Miami to talk to Lourdes Gurriel about signing with the Blue Jays.
You never know when a connection on one front will help you on another front. Because Gurriel is an international free agent, could have signed with anybody who wanted him, but elected to sign with the Blue Jays. Blue Jays and Cardinals were both very interested in him. Smoke takes inside, 2 balls and a strike.
You know, I had an interesting conversation with Josue about Gurriel, and everybody is aware that from the previous spring to this spring, he may have been the most improved player Blue Jays had in camp because he hadn't played for a year. He was just away from the game. after his defection from Cuba.
2 on, 2 out. And a ground ball down to third. Devers the short way to force Hernandez at second, and that's all for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the fifth. But they have tied the game. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. showing his wheels around third, sliding into home, and it's all tied up at 2. Cora's never had a big league managing job before, but the Red Sox off to a great start. Now 17-5. Keep in mind 3 days ago that was 17-2. 17-5 right now, but still overall it has been a tremendous start for a guy who looks really comfortable in the position in Alex Cora.
Well, he sure does, and he got the job late in the offseason, and after spending time with the Astros at the World Series, as Sanchez hits J.D. Martinez. Obviously no intent whatsoever. Martinez leading off the 6th after the Blue Jays just tied it.
That's the second batter that Sanchez has hit tonight, and Buck, it's the 5th batter he's hit this season in 5 starts. Some of that is just how much movement that fastball of his has.
Yeah, and no matter if there's intent or not, that one hurt right in the rib cage of J.D. Martinez. It's going to leave a mark.
You can see Sanchez visibly frustrated with himself. Leadoff man aboard. Here's Devers, 0 for 2, strikeout and a fly ball. Looks like he decided a little bit late to go after that one, and he came up empty. He's talking to himself on the inside right now. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for the Red Sox. 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Blue Jays. And another awkward looking swing from Devers.
Yeah, he's reaching for that ball, and he's almost committing his swing before he picks up the baseball. Watch how off balance he is when he swings at this pitch. He didn't have any legs in that swing at all, and both of those swings were very uncharacteristic.
Stay with a fastball. Devers, he's some kind of frustrated right now as Sanchez strikes him out on 3 pitches.
In the 4th, he got him to pop out on a changeup, and he might have been thinking he was going to get a changeup, but Sanchez used 3 fastballs and got 3 really funky swings from Devers. He is a mile late on that pitch. He had to be looking changeup. Just made up his mind that Sanchez was going to throw him a changeup, and he is still waiting on that first changeup.
Strikeout number 6 for Aaron Sanchez. Here's Eduardo Nunez, 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground ball. With the double play ball that Sanchez got off the bat of Hanley Ramirez back in the 5th inning, that's now 8 double plays behind Sanchez. This is his 5th start of the season. That's an extraordinary number. Now the season is young, and we've got some small sample size situations going on, but Diaz and Gurriel would love to have another ground ball hit right at one of them, just like Gurriel started that double play back in the 5th. just outside. Nope, it's a strike call. A little bit late there from home plate umpire Scott Berry, and Eduardo Nunez questioning it. It's 0-2. Funny game, huh? The first batter gets hit by the first pitch. And then he strikes out 2 guys in a row on 3 pitches.
Yeah, man, that's very curious because neither Devers or Nunez look very comfortable standing in against Sanchez. This ball is way up about eye high, and Nunez chases it. But you can see there's a little bit of give in that front foot. They didn't really have a very good approach in that at bat.
So 2 down now, and Jackie Bradley Jr. is the batter. He's grounded out, walked and scored. Sanchez just over 90 pitches, as you can see. Aaron Loup was up in the 5th inning when Sanchez was struggling with his command. No activity for the Blue Jays in their bullpen here in the 6th. Up high, 2-0. Sanchez waits for a moment again as Solarte and Diaz switch sides on the infield. Now that Luis Rivera has decided he does not think Jackie Bradley is going to lay a bunt down. They're late on that fastball right now.
Yeah, they sure are, and Aaron's maintained the velocity here into the 6th inning. There was a topic of discussion prior to the start of this game that Aaron's fastball was down in velocity. There's nothing wrong with it tonight.
Right now, there's not much reason to throw anything other than a fastball.
No, and you know what? That's the thing about it. Here we are, 3rd time through the order, and the game has trended to, well, you know, you got to be careful 3rd time through the order. All you got to do is change up your approach, and he's done that very effectively.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Here it comes. Pretty good job by Bradley just to foul that one back.
You know, the hitters will tell you when a pitcher is getting tired. And what we have seen in this inning suggests that Aaron's got a lot left.
And at times really pitching up effectively with that fastball, going for swings and misses instead of ground balls. See what he does here. Curveball, strike 3 call. Crossed him up with Bradley sitting on the fastball. Number 8 on the night for Aaron Sanchez. He hasn't thrown many of them tonight, but that one was an absolute beauty.
Capitals showdown. Round 2 begins tomorrow in Washington. Catch the action at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on CBC and Sportsnet. And Dan, one more injury update. Manager John Gibbons said that Troy Tulowitzki is set to resume light baseball activities this week. That includes hitting off a tee, fielding stationary ground balls, and then he'll be reevaluated in another 4 weeks to gauge his progress.
All right, Hazel, thank you. Meanwhile, Jan Hervis Solarte homers into the second deck, and the Blue Jays have taken the lead. And we're going to see some dancing. Good way to snap a 1 for 20.
His 8th first pitch home run, and this guy's got a lot of confidence. Boy, Nunez was lucky on that one.
Yeah. Morales retired, 1 down.
Boy, Solarte brings a lot of energy. We know that, and he was sitting all over this first pitch. It's a breaking ball that doesn't break, and he hammers it in the second deck. We mentioned his home run. That's his 13th home run against left-handed pitching. His 13 of 63 home runs he's hit for his career from batting as a right-handed hitter.
There's some personality on this team right now. The acquisition of Solarte, Hernandez, Gurriel bring a lot of personality. There's a strike taken by Russell Martin.
I still love the name that Russell put on him early in the season. He called him Mooney with Pop.
Mooney being, of course, Munenori Kawasaki. Is Martin 0 for 2 as he takes down low. First lead of the night for the Blue Jays. After twice overcoming a 1-run deficit. If you can just find somebody to talk to.
He has got energy. It's fun to watch him take batting practice because he does play-by-play and color all throughout batting practice.
And he's doing a replay of it right there. And he just dropped the mic and he went up down the steps. He knows how to have fun.
I asked him how he learned how to switch hit. And he told me, he said, when I was a kid in Venezuela playing in the street, if the pitcher threw right-handed, you hit left-handed. If he threw left-handed, you hit right-handed. It was that simple. Those were the rules of the street game.
You know, it helped him. Really, really helped him. His numbers have been stronger from the left side. A lot of switch hitters, just about all of them are natural right-handed batters. But a lot of them become better left-handed batters just because they get more reps on that side. But you never know. Kendrys Morales still swings the bat better from the right side. Smoke swings it better from the right side. Solarte swings it better from the left side.
It's got to be challenging to be a switch hitter. Have 2 swings to worry about every day.
Hernandez, Diaz still having fun in the dugout. Full count now on Martin. And Pilar on deck should the inning continue. Don't forget, third and final game of the series is tomorrow night. Alex Cora will send Chris Sale to the mound, and the Blue Jays will counter with Marco Estrada. 7 o'clock start here at Rogers Center. Down the right field line, and this one will get back into the seats out of play. Chris Sale is off to a great start this year. He's got a 1.86 ERA so far, and anybody who's ever watched him pitch knows that he's just about as nasty as anybody in the game. He's right up there with Scherzer and Kershaw and Kluber. Low ball 4.
The Lawn and Garden event is on now until May 15th. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Here's how.
Tell you, that's looking pretty good right about now. Troy always shows the concessions around the 6th, 7th inning when you and I are getting hungry. Danny Barnes is up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. So it looks like Aaron Sanchez's night may be done as Pilar takes just inside ball 1.
Well, they got him a run. He's the pitcher of record for the Blue Jays. It's kind of like what happened in Baltimore when Curtis Granderson hit that home run in the 9th after Sanchez was so good. He was out of the ball game. Granderson hit the ball out of the ballpark to give him a lead.
Martin at first after drawing the walk. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 Blue Jays. And a big swing and a foul back by Pilar. 1-1. Pilar tonight's lined out to left and grounded out to third. And still sporting the Toronto Strong written in the eye black under his eyes, as Pilar did last night. You still have the hashtag Toronto Strong banner up on the WestJet flight deck here in center field at the Rogers Center. Down and in, 2 balls and a strike. Activity now with the Red Sox pen. Right-hander Heath Hembry. Fly ball left field. And Benintendi ranging over to his right to make the catch. 2 down. Martin back to first. So now a guy who's had an interesting night. Lourdes Gurriel reached on an error in the 2nd, then singled, stole a base, and scored in a slide at the plate on a base hit by Steve Pearce back in the 5th. And it looks like John Gibbons may be getting Curtis Granderson ready for some action.
Yeah, with the right-hander warming up for Boston, he has been put on alert.
If it gets to Pearce, presumably. Fouled off, and it's 0-1. Jays are getting a decent amount out of their bench at times, considering there aren't really deep benches anymore. But the Pearce Granderson platoon. Maley's come off the bench with a couple of big hits.
John Gibbons has really pushed a lot of the right buttons early in this season. The Blue Jays are 7 for 15 as a pinch hitting team with 5 ribbies.
One ball, 1 strike to count on Gurriel. Chased one up high, 1-2.
Yeah, I got a little over anxious there. Thought he was going to get a fastball. He got one, but it was up out of the strike zone. You can see him gathering his thoughts again. Say, okay, you got to get a strike first and foremost. There's a big hole on the right side, and we've seen him handle the bat very well. Hit balls in that direction. Vasquez offering a pitch, and Rodriguez didn't like that one, so he asked him to step off.
One ball, 2 strikes. Gurriel waiting. Rodriguez deals, and a swing and a ball sent to left field. Again, a play for Benintendi, and that is all for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 6th. But they have themselves their first lead of the night, thanks to Yangervis Solarte going deep and then celebrating. end, but overall a really strong performance.
Absolutely. He made some adjustments in the middle of the game after giving up a home run to the first batter he faced, Mookie Betts. He settled down and allowed just 2 more hits the rest of the way he wanted to, but struck out 8, including the final 3 batters he faced in the 6th inning. After hitting J.D. Martinez to start the 6th, he struck out Devers, Nunez, and Jackie Bradley Jr.
So out of the bullpen for the Blue Jays comes Danny Barnes.
Danny Barnes has been terrific. This is his 13th appearance of the season. Look at his ERA. He's been stingy. Opponents hitting .250, but boy, when he's got runners in scoring position, he turns it up a notch. He's averaging 10.8 strikeouts per 9 innings, and he's only walked 1 batter.
Changes out in the outfield. Teoscar Hernandez, who was in right field, moves to left field for Steve Pearson. Randall Grichuk comes off the bench to play right. Christian Vasquez leads off the 7th. And it takes high, ball 1. It'll be Vasquez, Brock Holt, Mookie Betts. 8, 9, and 1 in the Boston lineup.
Grichuk made a play that didn't get much attention last night that really helped the Blue Jays hold the Red Sox to just 2 runs. He cut off the ball that Nunez hit to keep him to a single after he just entered the game as a defensive replacement.
You and I were talking before the game, just watching him in the dugout on our monitor up here in the booth. I mean, he is struggling mightily. There's no hiding it. But his body language, his enthusiasm, his interacting with his teammates, and his willingness right now to just take whatever playing time comes his way, they've all been pretty good.
Yeah, he's done a terrific job of keeping his head up and continuing to work at things. He's got just 5 hits in 58 at-bats.
Fly ball to deep center field. Pilar on the run. He is there.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Christian Vasquez hits this changeup. Look where Pilar is. He was shaded in the alley in right center, but he took a deep angle and gets to the warning track to make a nice catch. He read the fly to that ball very well, and he was anticipating the ball being hit in the power alley in right, but he took a good deep angle and got to the warning track very easily.
Here's Brock Holt, who's really hurt the Blue Jays so far in this series. Had 3 hits last night. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI double tonight. And a ground ball past the mound and into center field for a base hit. Man, he's 5 for 7 in the 2 games.
Yeah, and you know what? He battled a very bad concussion, and he missed a lot of time, but he has got his stroke back. A very good player, very versatile player. That ball's off the plate outside. Another changeup from Danny Barnes that Holt takes right up the middle.
So now top of the order, Mookie Betts. 1 for 3, homered to lead off the ball game. 1 for 5 in his career against Barnes. And a fastball zipped in there at 91 for a strike. That's a long look down to Carlos Fablis, the third base coach for the Red Sox. Smoke holding on Holt, who's got decent speed. As Betts sends a fly ball to right field. This ball's well struck, and it is gone. 2-run homer for Betts. His 2nd home run of the night, and the Red Sox go back on top.
Mookie Betts has been a Blue Jay killer. His 2nd home run of the night, and Betts for his career has driven in more runs against the Blue Jays than any club he plays against. He is just a tough out, and he didn't have to pull this ball. He stays on it and drives it to the opposite field for his 2nd home run of the night. For Betts, that's his 2nd multi-home run game of the season. He had a 3-homer game against the Angels in Anaheim.
This is his 21st game of the season. He has 16 extra base hits, 8 doubles and 8 homers. And in 21 games, he has scored 25 runs and driven in 17.
He now has 44 ribbies against the Blue Jays in 61 games.
4-3 Red Sox. Taking all the way, Benintendi looks at a strike. It's 3-1. And is Seung-Hwan Oh up for the Blue Jays right now, with Barnes struggling here in the 7th.
Ice cream bars here.
So there will be no W tonight for Aaron Sanchez, who left with a chance to win the game, but Mookie Betts had other ideas. And if the Blue Jays are to win this game, they'll have to overcome a deficit for the 3rd time. Close but no, and that's ball 4 to Benintendi.
Well, Mookie Betts has a 2-homer night. He's driven in 3 of the 4 Red Sox runs, and this is not unusual for Betts against the Blue Jays. Last season, he had .365 against the Jays. His on-base percentage, .453, and his OPS was over 1. He's a tough out, and he can beat you with home runs. He can beat you with his speed. He can beat you with his glove, and he can beat you with his arm. He is a perennial MVP candidate, without a doubt.
Here's Hanley Ramirez, 1 on, 1 out. Oh, throwing. Barnes still in the game. And that breaking ball sweeps way outside for ball 1. Barnes has been tremendously reliable so far this season, but ran into a couple of hot hitters in Brock Holt and Mookie Betts here this inning. Betts still smiling. Got Mitch Moreland alongside in the dugout. A 2-homer night for the Red Sox right fielder. Started the game with a homer and now gives Boston the lead with another one here in the 7th inning. 1-0 with a runner going. Throw down by Martin is not in time. And Benintendi with his 4th stolen base of the season.
He's 4 for 4, and he's got speed, he's got power, and he's had a rough start to this series, but now he's reached twice on a couple of base on balls, and he picks up the stolen base to get himself in this scoring position.
And a 2-0 count on Hanley Ramirez. So John Gibbons sizing up the situation, and now he's got a left-hander, Tim Meza, joining O in the bullpen. Swing and a miss, 2-1. Hit a big cut at that one.
The bullpen has gotten off to a great start for the Blue Jays. They came into this game with the best earned run average in the American League, but home runs have been a little bit of a problem. That's the 9th home run the bullpen has surrendered this season.
Gurriel trying to keep the runner close. There he goes. Got a great jump, and there's no throw. Benintendi into 3rd, standing up.
Barnes one look at 2nd, and as soon as he turned his head, Benintendi took off for 3rd. He read it perfectly, and now that's going to force the Blue Jays infielders to come in.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Ramirez, who's 0 for 3 tonight. full count.
That slider off the plate and never started in the strike zone, so Ramirez picked up on it right away.
So Hanley Ramirez tried to extend the Red Sox lead. Another run, potential lead, just 90 feet away. With the Blue Jays infield in. Fouled back. Ramirez with some very big years back at the beginning of his career with the then Florida Marlins, including one year he hit .342, drove in over 100, stole 27 bases. He stole 51 bases on 2 separate occasions. And just 2 years ago for the Red Sox, slugged 30 homers, drove in 111. Three-two, up and in, ball 4. Ramirez isn't sure of the count right now. He's being informed that is ball 4, so he's going to take his base, and John Gibbons will make a walk as well. He wants San Juan O to face JD Martinez. Rough inning for Danny Barnes, who has not had one like this so far this year.
No, he hasn't. He got a clean inning to start, and then after getting the first batter to fly out, Vasquez hit it to the warning track in center, but Brock Holt continues to be a thorn in the Blue Jays side, and then a home run by Betts.
So we'll step aside. O on his way into the game for the Jays. ...2018 Civic Type R.
2 for the price of 1 tonight. Mookie Betts, the leadoff hitter for the Red Sox, got an 0-2 fastball from Aaron Sanchez to start the ball game, and he hit his 7th home run of the season. And then against Danny Barnes with a man on, he goes opposite field this time, and it's a 2-run home run. Betts has driven in 3 of the 4 runs the Red Sox have scored. It's his 12th career multi-home run game.
And he's given the Red Sox the lead, and they're looking for more with the runners at first and third and just 1 out here in the top of the 7th. As the new pitcher out of the bullpen for the Blue Jays is right-hander San Juan O.
He's making his 11th appearance, and his numbers are pretty good. Opponent's hitting .325. That's alarming, and also the fact that he has allowed 3 of the 4 inherited base runners that he has had come in to score, and he's got 2 inherited base runners on now.
Benintendi at third, Ramirez at first, and JD Martinez the batter. 1 for 2 and hit by a pitch. Picked by Martin, ball 1.
O has faced JD Martinez twice before. Martinez is 0 for 2 against him. The Blue Jays love to get another ground ball.
Old foul.
Ground ball foul.
Yeah.
There's a lot of communication on the infield now between the Blue Jays and the dugout. They're trying to get comfortable with their alignment here. Rivera has been moving all of the infielders around, and they're talking to one another. Solarte talking to Diaz. Now Diaz moves Gurriel to his left a step. I don't think any of the three are really comfortable with their positioning right now. Still ongoing conversation. Diaz at short talking to Solarte.
The set and the 1-1, and fouled off the end of the bat, 1-2.
Well, that was a funny swing on a very slow breaking ball, but you see the infielders all trying to get a feel for where their best position is against J.D. Martinez. That slow curveball, he had to really extend just to put the bat on the ball. He got fooled by the velocity.
A little bit high. Oh, coming over to Toronto after a couple of years with the Cardinals. Terrific year 2 years ago. Not so much last year when he was hit quite a bit harder. Velocity numbers remain constant, pretty similar for him. Really didn't lose much. He just got squared up a lot more as he misses high again. It's 3-2.
Yeah, more than anything in St. Louis in his second year, he's leaving too many balls over the heart of the plate. And that's reflected in that .325 opponent's batting average that he's sporting right to this point.
Ramirez running from first, and it's ball 4 outside to load the bases. And the bullpen, which, as you said, Buck, has been so good for the most part for the Blue Jays this year, is not having a banner night so far.
3 walks in the inning, 2 by Barnes, and now this first batter walked by
And now Rafael Devers 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. There's a slow breaking ball that misses outside. You don't see much of that overhand curveball from O. Pretty much straight away on the infield, looking to a ground ball at somebody, and a chance to turn 2 and keep this from getting worse.
Devers has had a rough night at the plate. He was really overmatched his last time up batting against Sanchez.
High in the air to right field. Grichuk coming over will make the catch, and the throw coming to the plate, and for some reason Benintendi didn't tag it to go home. It was deep enough, but he wasn't on the bag.
No, he tagged too early. He left early, and then once he left, he knew he couldn't run, but he had tagged up, and for some reason he mistimed his break. I don't know if he didn't see Grichuk, but watch how he breaks early before the catch is made. He goes and then realizes that's too early, and then he can't advance. So he really messed up on that. This has got to be a play you can run on. You see, he left way before Grichuk caught the ball, and he had a clear view of the right fielder.
So the Blue Jays catch a big break potentially. Can O get Nunez to end the inning? Smoke's got it. And that's it for the Red Sox here in the top of the 7th. Boston gets 2. They take the lead. 7th inning stretch. partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Yangervis Solarte with a big home run for the Blue Jays. At the time gave him a 3-2 lead, but Mookie Betts homered for the second time tonight. Top of the seventh, 4-3 Red Sox going bottom seven. And here's Aledmys Diaz to lead it off. Eduardo Rodriguez still in the game for Boston.
Yeah, put a big star by Andrew Benintendi's name in that seventh inning, because he didn't tag at third base and he was stranded. And that should have been an extra run for Boston, and it wasn't. Benintendi knew it immediately, but for some reason his timing got all thrown off. He tagged and broke early, and then he couldn't get back in advance.
One. Right of the knees for a called strike. Rodriguez at 95 pitches right now as he works into the seventh inning. One, two on the way, and foul it off to the right. After Diaz, it'll be Randal Grichuk. Remember, Grichuk came on defensively in the top half of the inning when the Blue Jays still had the lead, and he took Steve Pearce's spot in the lineup. So Grichuk's on deck, and then Teoscar Hernandez behind him. One, two again. Curtis Granderson staying loose in case there's an opportunity for him. If Hembree were to replace Rodriguez after this batter, you can bet that Granderson would come in for Grichuk. Off the end of the bat, a little squibber up the first baseline for out number one.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
Dan Shulman to Buck Martinez, Hazel May, bottom of the seventh, middle game of three. Just like last night was a close one, tonight's is a close one as Rodriguez is going to get another visit.
Well, the reason they're talking this over is they're facing Grichuk for the first time. So Vasquez went out there initially, and then the pitching coach Dana Vangie came out as well to make sure they were all on the same page as how they want to attack Grichuk. Grichuk has faced Rodriguez. He's 0 for 4. And the book on Rodriguez, or excuse me, on Grichuk, as we have seen, is the teams are throwing him a lot of high fastballs.
He's hitting .086, 5 for 58, got 2 doubles, 2 homers. A career .242 hitter. His best year was back in 2015 when he appeared in 103 games for the Cardinals, hit .276 with 17 homers and 23 doubles and 323 at-bats. Each of the last 2 years he's had his highs and he's had his lows. A very streaky guy. Hit .240 one year, .238 the other. 24 homers one year, 22 the other. But spent a little time in the minors in each of those 2 seasons when he would go into a slump.
Well, there's no doubt about the fact he's got power. It's been the lack of consistent contact in Rendell. Like we said earlier, he's been working hard at it.
One on the way. Rodriguez dropping down a little bit on that delivery. 1-2 as Joe Kelly has joined Heath Hembree in the bullpen. Doesn't look like a guy necessarily who can throw 99. the biggest guy in the world, but he throws just about as hard as anybody.
Yeah, he's just over 6 foot tall, but he can turn that fastball loose. He's been very good for the Red Sox. Sooner or later, they're going to get a decision on his suspension. He's appealing a 6-game suspension for that brawl they had at Fenway against the Yankees.
Don't you wish those things were decided like in 24 hours or something? If you appeal, it's got to be dealt with.
You would think.
Right away. Drop down again. Foul it back just to our right.
Rodriguez has held his velocity very effectively here into the 7th inning. The Red Sox have won all 3 of his previous starts.
(4-3) Red Sox over the Blue Jays, bottom of the 7th, and a high fastball, 2-2. Rodriguez now over 100 pitches. This will be number 105. Could be last batter either way for him. There's a good take. Full count.
Yeah, his previous high was 104. He threw a 104 in each of his last 2 starts.
Oscar Hernandez limbering up in the on-deck circle. Justin Smoke behind him. The Blue Jays have overcome deficits twice tonight. Looking to do it again. Swing and a miss. 2 down.
Another high fastball, and that's what the book has been. Grichuk trying to go after that high hitter. It's just a little bit up, and you can see they missed their spot. They were going to go away with it. 94, good velocity. And that's going to be the last batter that Rodriguez faces here tonight.
Pretty strong performance. Gets a hug from Hanley Ramirez after 6 2/3 solid innings for Eduardo Rodriguez. And Hanley Ramirez literally says, keep your chin up when you walk off the field. He'll lead with a 1-run lead. Be the winner here tonight if the Boston bullpen can do its job.
Yeah, he's won his last 2 decisions, and the Red Sox have won all 3 of his previous starts. Another good effort by Rodriguez. He really mixed his pitches very effectively, scattered 6 hits over 6 2/3. He walked 1, struck out 3, but had the Blue Jays hitters just kind of in between as to what they were looking for all night long.
So here's the right-hander Heath Hembree making his 10th appearance of the season, unscored upon in each of his last 3. He's been a multi-inning guy on occasion for the Red Sox this year. Excellent strikeout to walk ratio. He comes on with 2 down and the base is empty to face Teoscar Hernandez, who's 1 for 3. Had a base hit his last time up. Swing at a breaking ball, 0-1.
Yeah, Hernandez has only faced Hembree once, but he took him deep. 1 for 1. It was a homer.
A home run cut at that first pitch, but came up empty. 2 down and the bases empty. Blue Jays down a run in the 7th. For the Blue Jays, left-hander Tim Meza, right-hander Ryan Tepera. Didn't go. 2 balls and a strike. Well, he's had some dramatic moments already this season. Some big hits, some big homers. Let's see if Hernandez has a little more magic in store here with 2 down in the 7th. That time he went around, says Scott Berry, the home plate umpire. 2-2. I think there's a little confusion why there wasn't at least an ask down to the first base umpire to see if he went. Hernandez seemed a little bit perplexed. But one way or another, it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And the ball was clearly outside.
And a good fastball at 97 to get him. And that's all for the Blue Jays. End of 7, Red Sox 4, Blue Jays 3.
Job for your Toronto Blue Jays. Come visit us at the Toronto Eaton Center, Rogers Center Gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk. For more information, visit jshop.ca or call 1-877-JSHOP. Heading to the 8th, we go back up to Don Schulman and Buck Martinez. Gentlemen.
All right, Hazel, thank you. And for the 2nd time this season, we will get a look at Tim Meza on the mound for the Blue Jays.
Tim Meza comes in to face the bottom third of the order. Jackie Bradley Jr., Christian Vasquez, and Brock Holt are the scheduled batters. He's only worked 1 inning, as Dan mentioned, and he was brought back up after John Axford was placed on the bereavement list. He's away from the team.
First pitch fastball, pop back foul out of play. Bradley denied a ground out, a walk, and a strikeout. He's a guy with a big arm and a guy who really intrigues the Blue Jays. Last year, 19 appearances. The ERA wasn't good, but they love the strikeout to walk ratio. And you've seen the 2 main weapons for Tim Meza. The fastball at 97, 96, 97. Not always quite that hard, but he's got good velocity, and that sharp slider at 87.
4 of his outings last year were against the Red Sox, and he pitched very well against them. So they give him an opportunity to get started with possibly a couple of left-handers batting in this inning.
Wow, nasty slider there to get Bradley.
Well, that's what's attractive about Tim Mesa, his ability to get left-handed hitters out. And in the spring, he tried to throw fastballs inside. They said, listen, go to your strength. Fastball slider away, and you're going to be very effective. And this is a good slider. It goes from a strike to a ball, and it's called the strike. It's a terrific pitch in a good location for Mesa.
And when Axford comes back, presumably Mesa goes back down to the minor leagues. He looks like he could be on the bubble if they're going to carry 8 relievers. He's here. If they're going to carry 7 relievers, he's in Buffalo. But you never know. Now things sort themselves out. Teams like having that second lefty too.
Got a little ahead of himself right there. You can see him tapping himself on the leg. A little reminder to stay over the rubber longer and let your arm lead, not your body. And he drifted toward home and got ahead of himself.
And the 2-0 slider in for a strike. Did you like calling off speed pitches when guys were a little out of whack mechanically?
Yeah, it slows them down. Makes them think about executing a pitch instead of just muscling it up, trying to hit a number on the radar gun.
Fastball hit in the air to right center. Lots of room for Pilar. 2 down.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
We got a tight game here at Rogers Center as the Blue Jay coaching staff continues to move the defensive players around. Luis Rivera in charge of the infielders. Tim Leeper in charge of the outfielders. 2 down and the base is empty for the Red Sox. And here's the guy who has been a thorn in the Blue Jays side the last couple of nights. Brock Holt is 5 for 7 so far in this series. Tonight he has singled, doubled, scored a run, driven in a run. Last night had 2 singles and a double, scored a run, drove in a run. 6 for 8. Pretty good number 9 hitter they got going right now.
Yeah, it sure is. And his versatility is also a bonus because you can put him anywhere on the diamond. He's filling in right now for the shortstop, and that's going to be it for Tim Mesa. Gibbons has already made the call to the bullpen, so he gets the first 2 batters, has a left-hander up there, but he hung a slider, and Brock Holt, as hot as he's been, squared it up.
So Gibby will call on Ryan Tepera to try to end things here in the top of the 8th. Right-hander Ryan Tepera.
Tepera is the guy they generally use in the 8th inning when they have the lead, but he's got to come in here and try to put out this fire and keep it a 1-run game. Ryan's off to a good start. Opponent's hitting just .225. He's only walked 3 and struck out 14. So he is given a tough situation here with Mookie Betts the batter. Betts has already gone deep twice tonight.
It's a pair of face bets in last night's game, and he struck him out. 4-3 Red Sox. Runner at first, 2 down as they bat in the top of the 8th inning here in the middle game of the 3-game set.
Mookie Betts has had three home run games in his career, including most recently on the 17th of April out in Anaheim. He had 2 in 2016. Part of that great run he had at Baltimore in May of 2016.
Cutter in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Tepera, a terrific year in 2017, set career highs in innings, games, strikeouts. Opponent's OPS, just became a big part of the Blue Jay bullpen, primarily as the 8th inning guy. Red Sox like to run. We've seen that tonight. Benintendi's got a couple of stolen bases. And we saw that all last season. The Red Sox ran wild on the Blue Jays last year. Now, granted, they got a different manager this year, Alex Cora, but he likes to play that game as well. Red Sox stole 30 bases in 33 attempts in 19 games against the Blue Jays last year.
Alex Cora, the manager running the offense for the Blue Jays. Oftentimes, a bench coach will be the guy that does that, but Cora wants to take things in his own hands.
And a swing and a fly ball left field. Room for Hernandez, and that's all. We go to the bottom of the 8th with the Blue Jays coming up down 4-3. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Cliff Floyd in the Samsung broadcast studio. The Red Sox pen here to try to protect a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, this is where Kelly came into the game last night. He pitched the 8th and the 9th. He gave up a 2-out double to Kevin Pillar, but that was it. He retired 6 of the 7 batters he faced with a strikeout, so he's in now to try to protect this 1-run lead.
And he's going to face the middle of the Blue Jays lineup, 3-4-5. Justin Smoke, Yangervis Solarte, and Kendrys Morales. Smoke turns around. All 3 of them, if they face him, will turn around to bat from the left side after spending their night batting from the right side against Eduardo Rodriguez. Kelly, in his 2 innings last night, was efficient through just 20 pitches. Shift on. First pitch to Smoke. And that curveball bounced in for ball 1.
You mentioned that Kelly throws close to 100 with a fastball, but in last night's game he used the curveball and the slider very effectively.
And that curveball gets in there for a strike, 1-1.
This is where the Blue Jays really miss guys like Donaldson, because Donaldson and that type of player hit good pitching. Against Kelly, Josh is 12 for 21 with 2 homers. Now those are the types of pitchers that great hitters can handle.
Fastball hit weakly on the ground. Nunez from short right makes the play, 1 down. We'll bring up Yana Hervis Solarte.
Now Solarte's been aggressive early in the count, and back in the 6th inning he jumped all over this first pitch. A cutter that stayed out of the plate. Rodriguez knew it immediately. As soon as it left his hand, he knew it was out of the ballpark. For Solarte, his 6th home run, his 11th RBI, and at the time that gave the Blue Jays the lead.
He'll bat from the left side now against the right-hander Kelly. Again, a shift, although Holt, the shortstop's pretty much right up the middle, almost directly behind second base. Slider down and in for ball 1. So a little bit differently than they played against Smoke. They view Smoke as more of a pull hitter. And Holt, you could see, looked like he just took a little card out of his back pocket to talk about where he should be positioned against certain hitters in certain counts. You see a lot of fielders doing that now these days. Inside corner with the knees. Roberto Osuna and Tyler Clipper, depending on what happens here in the bottom of the 8th. Osuna would love a chance to get back there out on the mound after what happened last night. And another bouncing ball to the right side. Again, it's Nunez, 2 down. Activity in the Red Sox pen. The left-hander is Brian Johnson. The right-hander is Carson Smith. But if things go well for Alex Cora, the only other guy coming out of the bullpen tonight for them is Craig Kimbrell, who, like Osuna, would love a chance to get right back out there tonight.
Yeah, both closers gave up runs, something they hadn't done this season. They've been both very stingy.
Kendrys Morales.
In this matchup in last night's game, Kelly never threw Morales a fastball. He starts him off with the curveball. Morales pinch hit in the 9th inning and got all breaking balls. Even on a 3-1 pitch, he got a slider.
Slider there, but he took it down and in, a ball and a strike. So this is a situation, do you go with your strength or with the hitter's weakness?
Yeah, I think they're going with the weakness of Morales. He's having trouble picking up the breaking ball, and he'll swing at a lot of breaking balls in the dirt.
Takes that one.
You know, and Kelly's strength is his fastball, there's no question, but his curveball and his slider are both very good. So if you have to make a decision as to staying with Kelly's strength or going to Morales' weakness, I think it's an early answer, or easy answer. Just go with the breaking ball. I'd be very surprised if he throws him a fastball in this at bat.
Changeup, his 4th pitch, 2-2.
Anything but a fastball.
He's got good stuff. Looked like for a while he'd be, and he was, a starter for a while. Talk of making him a closer. Actually went down to the minors some last year. He just couldn't harness everything, but when he's on, he can be nasty. Still hasn't gotten a fastball, and it's a full count.
No, he's not going to get one now either. This is like the Diaz at bat in Cleveland when the Blue Jays were down by 3. And he just got breaking ball after breaking ball after breaking ball. And finally, he got one fastball hit out of the ballpark to tie up the game.
3-2 on the way. Change up to get him. Swing and a miss. That's all for Morales. That's all for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 8th.
Clippard was the winner in last night's game as he was the pitcher that got out of the situation in the 10th. He walked the first batter, got a fly ball and a double play, and then with the Granderson home run, he was given credit for his 3rd win against no losses. Clippard's been very consistent this season. Opponents haven't been able to square him up there, hitting just 132 against the righty.
Andrew Benintendi will lead it off for the Red Sox. 0 for 2 with a couple of walks and a couple of stolen bases tonight. He'll be followed by Hanley Ramirez and J.D. Martinez.
Benintendi, a very frustrated reaction after swinging and missing that first pitch. 0 for 2 tonight, and he had a 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts last night.
And 0 for his last 14 overall. So this goes back into the Oakland series on the weekend. Chris Sale and Marco Estrada tomorrow night to wrap up the series. 7 o'clock start at Rogers Center. And the Blue Jays will entertain the Texas Rangers over the weekend. Popped him up, shallow center, draws a crowd, and it's Pilar to make the catch. 1 down.
The Lawn and Garden event is on now until May 15th, only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Here's how.
And to nobody's surprise, Craig Kimbrell is up in the bullpen for the Red Sox.
We might have a Kimbrell-Granderson matchup a little later on.
Turned out pretty well last night for the Blue Jays. Here's Hanley Ramirez.
Clippard's thrown a few more sliders lately, and that looked like a slider right there that got off the glove of Russell Martin. But primarily, he's going to throw changeups almost 30% of the time. His fastball 90, 91 miles an hour.
Hot shot down to third. And Solarte across to Smoke for out number 2. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth, it'll be Russell Martin, Kevin Pillar, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. scheduled for the Blue Jays. Here's JD Martinez. He's bounced into a fielder's choice, had a base hit, been hit by a pitch, and walked. Maybe it's a good sign that Clippard's out there, because as you said, every time he goes out there, it seems the offense scores a couple of runs, or they score just enough. That's how he's picked up 3 wins already this season.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes there are guys like that just have that magic touch. They go out there, put up a couple of zeros, the offense comes back, and the Blue Jays have been such a successful team scoring late in ball games. You put up a 0 or 2, you got a chance to pick up a win.
Two down on the bases empty, a ball and a strike to count on to Martinez. Clippard has the one he's looking for from Martin. And that changeup just sailed up and in. Not at all where it's designed to be by Clippard, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
He'll come right back with it and throw it again. He's got that kind of confidence, and it's fresh in his mind, the previous one that got away from him.
That's what Martin's thinking too. That was the first sign. Better location popped up, but Smoke won't have a play.
Yeah, when you've got a veteran on the mound like Tyler Clippard and he throws a bad pitch and it's his best pitch, you come right back with it because he knows how to make the proper adjustment and throw the next pitch effectively, as he did. Fresh in his mind. I mean, he's thinking as soon as you let it go, nope, that one was bad. I opened up, turned my hand, and it ran up and in.
Now 2-2. And the breaking ball taken low, a full count on Martinez. Rafael Devers on deck if Martinez gets aboard. Fastball's a little bit sneaky. Martinez a little bit late on a 90-mile-an-hour heater there.
Yeah, and it certainly is aided by the fact he's got 2 strikes, and he knows that Clippard throws that changeup any time, so he was very late fouling that last pitch off.
And again, the 3-2. Changeup got a lot of the plate, but fouled back by Martinez.
Yeah, and you saw Clippard shake off a couple of pitches from Martin. Russell called an inside fastball. Clippard said no, and then he called for a splitter, and he said no. He feels really good about his changeup. So now JD's trying to match wits with Martin and Clippard. .92 foul back.
Pretty good battle.
If you're JD Martinez battling against Clippard right now, you almost hit flat-footed, where you just say, okay, all I got to do is use my hands and try to stay back as long as possible. You can't overcommit with your body, and he's going to throw him another cutter, it looks like. Yep. He went to that slider and missed.
So a 2-out walk to JD Martinez will indeed bring Devers to the plate as the Red Sox try to add on to their 1-run lead here in the top of the 9th. Blue Jays won by a run last night, and the Red Sox trying to return the favor here tonight.
Lefties are 2 for 21 hitting against Clippard.
Because of that changeup. Right?
Absolutely.
Yes, he did.
Devers has had changeup in his mind going back to his previous at bat. Remember the 3 weak swings he had against Sanchez, all on fastballs, and he was thinking changeup there too, and committed early. He was just took a funny hack. He's been kind of confused at the plate tonight.
Wow, great arm action on that one. 0-2.
So now Devers is thinking, okay, he threw me a fastball and beat me, then I missed this changeup. So now Clipper definitely has the upper hand here.
Got it. Clipper does the job in the top of the ninth. Can the offense do it in the bottom of the ninth? It'll be Russell Martin, Kevin Pillar, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. coming up. And Craig Kimbrell's coming in.
Presented by Honda. You can count on us to get home safe. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
To the bottom of the ninth at Rogers Center, where the Blue Jays come up down a run, and they'll face the guy they beat last night. One of the toughest customers out of the bullpen in baseball, Craig Kimbrell, is on in a save situation right now.
Kimbrell struck out Devin Travis, the first batter he faced in the bottom of the ninth, and then fell behind Curtis Granderson 2-0. Granderson at that point in the game had only seen 4 fastballs in his previous 4 at-bats. So Granderson said, he's trying to get me out with a fastball. Look for it on the 3rd pitch and hit the game-winning home run off it.
Russell Martin will lead it off, 0 for 2 with a walk. The Blue Jays have Granderson, Maley, and Travis on the bench. If it gets far enough, you know Granderson's going to hit. The question, though, exactly would be when would John Gibbons use him? You know, if it got to Randall Grichuk, who's due up 5th, Granderson would be used. Would it possibly happen before then?
If he gets in an RBI situation, I think he would hit for Gurriel,
who's due up 3rd.
Martin's had success against Kimbrell. He's 3 for 8. That's huge success given how good Kimbrell is.
91% career success rate in save situations. Alex Cora with his bench coach Ron Renicky looking on from the first base dugout. Red Sox have lost 3 in a row, 17-5 on the season. Blue Jays are 14-8.
The home run that Kimbrell surrendered to Granderson was the first extra base hit he's allowed all season. To give you an idea of how tough he is.
Ran a little up and in on Russell, and he got out of there at the last second. If you're wondering about the Yankees, they're swinging the bats again, and they're leading again. They're up 7-4 in the Twins in the bottom of the 8th inning. Didi Gregorius, who's having about as good a year as anybody in baseball, 3 for 3 with another home run tonight. He's hitting .372. Martin's popped it up. And Vasquez has room in foul territory for the first out.
Kimbrel has such good velocity on his fastball. He can miss his spot and still get away with the pitch. And that's what happened on that last pitch.
So now Kevin Pillar comes to the plate. Pillar tonight is 0 for 3. A couple of fly balls to left and a ground ball to third. And the pitch. And a breaking ball down and away for ball 1 to Pillar, who's 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts in his career against Craig Kimbrel. And another breaking ball.
Yeah, you just have to make sure if you're going to look for a fastball that you let him turn it loose a little bit. Make sure you see fastball before you commit, because he'll get you to chase that breaking ball even in fastball counts.
It's interesting, an elaborate set of signs that teams normally use only with a runner at second base. They're using with nobody on the base here, and that's maybe worried about Tim Leeper, one of the coaches.
No, they're worried about video. They just don't want
Really?
to follow into any patterns with your signs, and they switch signs so frequently. That time they went to 3-2-1 instead of 3-1-2.
Well, whatever the sequence was, it was old number 1 coming to Pillar. 2 balls and a strike.
I mean, there's so many different ways to camouflage your signs. You can add a total. You can use an indicator to start first sign after 2. There's so many different ways to do it.
2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Yeah, he'll get you to chase. After you see 96 with the fastball, you know you got to get the bat started, and then he drops that breaking ball on you.
Blue Jays twice overcame a 1-run deficit, took the lead in the 6th, only to give it back in the top of the 7th on a 2-run homer by Mookie Betts, his second of the night, and they're now down 4-3 as they bat here in the bottom of the 9th. Fouled back by Pillar.
Pretty good hack at that fastball. Got it to a good spot on the outer half. You got a battle against Kimbrel. Everybody knows that.
Gurriel in the on-deck circle at the moment for the Blue Jays. And another 2-2 on the way. Pillar with a swing and a ground ball to short. Holt up with it and on to first for the second out. And it will be Lourdes Gurriel Jr. who's going to come up and get a look at Craig Kimbrel here with the Blue Jays down to their last out. Granderson is on deck, so if Gurriel can get on, Granderson is going to hit for Diaz.
Going to be interesting for Gurriel. I'm sure that he had a chat with Morales. He's probably spoke to Diaz as well about his approach against Kimbrel. He throws hard and he's got a wicked breakable.
Go get him.
Good luck.
High fly ball right center, but it's playable. Mookie Betts is there, and the Red Sox take the second game of the series by a score of 4-3. Craig Kimbrel picks up career save number 297. Mookie Betts with 2 home runs in this game. Brock Holt continues to torment the Blue Jays. He had 3 more hits. He's got 6 in the first couple of games, and the Red Sox even up the series at a win apiece as they beat the Blue Jays by a score of 4-3 here tonight.
Well, Aaron Sanchez did a pretty good job tonight, going 6 strong innings. He struck out 8, held the Red Sox to 2 runs, but Alex Cora's ball club came back on the strength of another multi-home run game by Mookie Betts, his 12th career multi-home run game. Home runs number 7 and 8 for Betts, and big game tomorrow. Marco Estrada against Chris Sale.
That should be all kinds of fun to see who takes the series. Big night in sports. You'll hear all about it right now. Sportsnet Central. Ken Reed and Ivanka Osman.